Hello everyone, my name is Steve Adolf and welcome to another installment of practical safe videos from the dining room table. Today we're starting a series on PI planning and specifically the what, the why, the where, and the who of PI planning. PI planning is sometimes called the heartbeat of SAFE, and it's what most people think about when they think of SAFE. But what exactly is it? So in this installment, we're going to look at what is PI planning and why is it important. So my usual disclaimer in this series is all of these videos represent my personal opinion and is based on experience with clients. They absolutely do not represent the views of Scaled Agile or my employer. And while you might gain some insight into SAFE, this is not intended to serve as exam preparation material. So what is a program increment? Well, a program increment, according to Scaled Agile, is a time box planning interval during which the Agile release train plans and delivers incremental value in the form of working, tested software and systems. So you can see sort of this regular occurring time box that goes on in which we are delivering increments of a valuable system. A simpler definition that I like of PI planning is that it really is just the iteration's big sibling. And it's a good analog because everything that you can think of in an iteration, there's generally an analog for it in the program increment. The typical PI is usually about 8 to 12 weeks. What you find most often is most companies run a 10-week PI with about 4 iterations plus an IP iteration. So what is PI planning then? Well, it's the big room collaborative event. This is where we get everyone on the Agile release train into the room and plan the next program increment together. I mean, what a simple idea. Get everyone who's got a stake and needs to work together into a room to plan together. So in PI planning, our inputs are typically the vision and the top 10 features. In other words, the input is this is what we want to accomplish. This is where we're going, and this is here are some of the features that we want to build to get us there. The outputs are the PI objectives. And there's another series of videos that explains about the PI objectives because you'll probably recall from that video series, I refer to them as the forgotten because often people forget about this output. The other output is the program board. Again, another output that tends to be forgotten by a lot of organizations. Again, there's a series of videos I've created that you can follow up with after this one to understand more about the program board. PI planning takes place during the IP iteration. So typically what is going to be happening is that during the IP iteration of, say here, PI 1, you're going to be doing the 2-day PI planning event for PI 2. In the IP iteration of PI 2, you will be doing the 2-day planning event for PI 3 and ad infinitum. So why are we doing this? Well, the big reason for getting everyone into a room together is everyone sees the same thing, and that magic same thing is alignment. If you recall, alignment is one of the 4 core values of SAFE. And I think sometimes we are not appreciative of the value of alignment because without everyone being on the same page, we can introduce significant problems and delays within the process. So here you see, in our case, the product manager giving the overview of what we're doing and people going, oh, so that's what we're doing. Right, to ensure that everyone does have alignment, because without alignment, people can start working at cross purposes. The other big part of this is to balance the demand for getting features done or to demand for getting work done with the actual capacity that the team has. So we're trying to avoid this kind of situation where a plan has been built, not by the team, but by someone else, typically a project manager, and 2 weeks before a scheduled milestone, in this case, our systems architect, Sahil, comes up to Lawrence, our product manager, and says, I'm sorry, we're just simply not going to get this feature in for the upcoming milestone. And, our product manager's going, I really wish you had let me know earlier. And you can see here the response is, we were skeptical at the start, and no one was listening to us. And there was so much pressure from the PMO to keep on schedule. So this is a common situation where somebody else has built the schedule and committed the teams to deliver on that schedule, rather than the teams committing themselves. So here, during PI planning, the teams will do the planning themselves, not have somebody else do the planning for them. And if you remember one of the Agile mantras, those who do the work, plan the work, this is simply one of the reasons why we want to do this, is that during PI planning, we can legitimately tell whether or not we do in fact have the capacity to take on that work, not have somebody else tell us this is the work that you need to get done. So you can see here that Lawrence is not very happy about the situation that has transpired. So the other part about this is reducing work in progress. Again, following about 2 weeks before, we're continuing the same conversation. And here, Sahil, again, our architect, is saying, hey, you really want to know what's crazy about this? And of course, poor Lawrence, who's crestfallen right now about his career, is asking what? And Sahil's going, it's really crazy. We could have actually gotten more work done if we had committed to less work. And this is a scenario I sometimes see with previous planning practices. So much work is pushed onto the team to keep them 100% busy that they're busy working, but they're actually not getting anything done. And so you see here, we say we worked on everything management committed us to. And the result, we wasted so much energy on features that we could not get done in time for the release. This is one of the reasons we talk about so much about reducing work in progress. Again, another one of the outcomes that we want to have in PI planning. So now let's take this back to the PI planning meeting. So rather than the traditional planning where the project manager builds the plan for the team and commits the team, we have the team participate. We're executing a PI planning. The teams are building the plan. Lawrence is now coming and finding out that the team doesn't have the capacity to build a feature that he needs. And he's saying, well, I really need this to be part of the release. The team is saying, well, we don't have the capacity to commit to it. So Lawrence may not be happy about this, but something at least, he's finding out early. As he says here, okay, this is not great, but at least you're telling me now and I can talk to the clients to properly set their expectations. As you saw in the previous slides, part of the problem is that Lawrence was being told 2 weeks before the milestone. At least here, it's about 2 months before the milestone, and he's being told. So he's got some leeway to have a conversation with the clients. There's also the fact that we are in PI planning. There may be other alternatives we'll talk about in later videos where we could potentially reprioritize the backlog, descope. So this is the conversations that we are having during PI planning. But in essence is we're balancing the demand with the capacity so we're not overloading the team, running them at 100%, which Reinerston has repeatedly said in his book, Product Development Flow, is a recipe for disaster. The other benefit of why we do PI planning is reducing coordination delays. So now imagine we're sometime executing on a plan, and we have Dragan here calling up Sahil, and he says, hey, we have an architectural issue. I really need to talk to you about this. And Sahil says, well, look, I haven't got time till next week. My calendar is booked. So now Dragon's sweating because he's really blocked. He needs Sahil's architecture team's help now, and that's blocking him from making forward progress. So he decides to schedule something for the next week. And of course, finally, he gets to meet up with Sahil, and he talks about his problem, and Sahil says, hey, we need Hugh's help on this. So now Dragon has got to go call Hugh. And he's calling up Hugh and says, hey, Sahil and I were talking. I need your help. And, Hugh is saying, well, I didn't see your email. And then on top of that, he's saying, by the way, I'm leaving on vacation. And now Dragon is stuck. So he's got a serious impediment that he has to deal with, a coordination delay. So now, imagine we have this similar issue that we discovered during PI planning. And now Dragon goes up to Sahil during PI planning session, says, hey, I need your help. And the reaction is probably, okay, we're here. We've got Hugh here. And just let me finish up here, and then we'll come over and talk with your team. Much, much different scenario than the previous ones. Also during PI planning, we identify dependencies and cross-team contentions. Again, this is something we talked about, an issue we went into more detail in the video series on the program board. But here you see Dragon is saying, okay, we've got this feature here that we have for the release. We need to go talk to the Anacondas for them to build this API for us. So the Cobras, the Dragon's team, they go talk to the Anacondas. The Anacondas say, yep, we can do that for you. They go to the program board and accept the dependency. This is sort of the happy path and happens frequently. Maybe, though, there is a problem, and the Anacondas cannot accept the dependency. But again, that's why everyone's in the room. That's why management's in the room, to help resolve these problems such that when we finish PI planning, we come out with an executable plan, something that has actually a chance of reaching the PI objectives. So, what's another reason that we do PI planning? Well, one of the important ones is to create a sense of shared commitment. Typically, most of the planning environments we operate in have been a project manager working with a few experts, gets some estimates, builds out a project plan, and usually it's presented to the team in this fashion. I know this project management is committing you, the plan you're being committed to looks aggressive. I don't know how many times in my career that I've heard that. This is an aggressive plan, but I'm sure you could get it. Now, what do you think the level of commitment to this plan is, where the team is already thinking that when pigs grow wings, we're going to be able to execute this plan? Are they going to be engaged? Are they going to be committed to this plan? Are they going to have the shared commitment? They're not. Somebody else has committed them to the plan. One of the important aspects of PI planning is that it is the people who are doing the work committing themselves to the plan. They build the plan. They balance demand and capacity. They work on resolving the dependencies. They build a plan that they feel comfortable committing to. So the very big difference here is that because the team has built the plan, they've collaborated with management, the business leaders, to build a plan that all are feeling confident about. There is a feeling of shared commitment. And this is one of the most important aspects of PI planning, is being able to create that shared commitment. So why are we doing PI planning? To create alignment, to reduce the coordination delays, to balance demand with capacity, to reduce work in progress, to identify and resolve dependencies, to build a shared commitment. Simply, PI planning helps give us a higher probability of building that shared commitment and successfully delivering on our PI objectives. Thank you.